So last week I caught up with Split. You can watch that review a few videos down on this playlist. And I rewatched Unbreakable because I was prepping for M. Night Shyamalan's newest film, which of course is not loading properly on this other computer. Here we go. Glass. It's written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. And it is the third in what is being called the East Rail 177 trilogy, East Rail something or other trilogy, in that they're all connected. There's spoilers for all of these movies in this review, so I'm just going to put spoilers, and if you haven't seen either movie, why did you go see Glass? There's no point in seeing the third in a trilogy. So Unbreakable is very much a dour, sad drama in which Glass, played by Samuel L. Jackson, posits that perhaps he is a supervillain, and if he's a supervillain, there should be a superhero like him, and he's trying to find that superhero. And what would it be like if an ordinary Joe really was a superhero, right? What if nothing about our world was any different, but there were people with certain abilities that made them different and super, like in the comics? That's the plot of Unbreakable. Okay. And if you remember, Samuel L. Jackson's character was the cause of many, many large multi-casualty accidents. All right. So Split, which was a backdoor sequel, because you didn't know it was a sequel until you got to the last scene, is about a man with DID, multiple personalities, one of which is a supervillain, serial killer, who kidnaps teenage girls and is going to eat them because apparently teenage girls are the least, have seen, like, what are they called? Spoiled teenage girls have the least amount of trauma or I guess trauma is the word, than anybody, which is one of my main problems with Split, because, like, to quote the Virgin Suicides, obviously, Doctor, you've never been a teenage girl. If anything, they are not the most, like, scapegoaty of populations, but that's neither here nor there. That film ends with the one teenage girl escaping because she has been abused, and so she is pure, which is the opposite of, anyways. And the supervillain person escapes. So Glass takes place about 3 weeks later, so we're still in 2016. Mind you, the election has not happened yet, I don't think. Actually, it's December, so it should be post-election, but we're not in the same universe. And David Dunn, Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable, has gone around trying to find this super villain with the multiple personalities. At this point, they know that he has multiple personalities. So, early on in the film, he catches him and frees a new group of teenage girls. However, they are all caught by Sarah Paulson's character, who presents herself as a psychiatrist, or psychologist, something religious, who is going to put them in the same institution that Glass is locked up in to discuss, try to convince them that they really are not superheroes, that they are just ordinary people with, like, a brain synapse that's not right. So the rest of the film is kind of her trying to break down how perhaps these people who think they're superheroes are actually suffering from some sort of frontal lobe issue. Okay, which makes you see that in this universe, Glass and Dunn and the Beast are not unique. There's an entire study of this, apparently, in psychology, which, if were true, wouldn't the psychologist, played by Betty Buckley in Split, have known about this field of study? You'd think. But that's, neither here nor there. Spoilers, everything is revealed to be a lie, and in reality, there is a, entire group of people who have been basically neutralizing superheroes and supervillains for thousands of years so that everything is equal. Very what is that one, Harrison Bergeron of them, right? Where you're putting the chains on the ballet dancers and all of that. Kind of like Watchers in Highlander, except that the Watchers are neutral and observe, and in this case, they hunt and destroy superheroes and supervillains alike. I kind of liked it in that, of course, there would be like some it's like S.H.I.E.L.D. in Marvel, or I guess there's one in the DC universe too that I don't know much about. I still think, much like Split, there were some issues with the way in which Shyamalan is just not presenting mental health well, and mental health mental health professionals well. I think that's still a major problem. What I did like about it was that he stuck with, this is our normal ass boring world, and these are superheroes. So you have this climactic battle that's supposed to maybe take place in a giant, the world's tallest building or whatever, but it doesn't happen, and it happens in this shitty old building, and it's there's no CG. It's just these people fighting with each other, and it's as boring as that would be. And then you have the major spoilers here. You have the Dunn character literally dying in a fucking puddle. And I thought that was kind of great for a couple of reasons. One, the whole water thing, even though Unbreakable happened before Signs, like, obviously, one of the big problems with Signs is that aliens would not come to take over a planet made out of water if water was their one weakness. That's fucking dumb as shit. And there's glasses of tap water kill the aliens. It's great. It's terrible. And so I feel like having his main character that he's built up over these movies just die in a fucking puddle is almost a nod to how stupid the ending of Signs is, but also just how stupid all of it is, while still respecting the form. So I think he's using this film to say, here is this form, and it doesn't need CGI, and it doesn't need special effects to be what it is, much like a comic book can be ordinary. But it's also all really fucking dumb, and we need to acknowledge that. This could be wrong. I don't know. But one interesting conversation I had where I was talking, where I found through conversations with various people that it seems to me that a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't like how ordinary it all was, how ordinary the ending was, as opposed to some of these more big budget films where you have the big CGI battle and well-coordinated CGI fightings. I am not a superhero movie fan person. I only go see the ones that are directed by people that I care about because I want to see their vision as a director. I personally don't like the CGI fights in most of those movies because I can't tell who's what because all I see is CGI. I really don't like CGI. I don't like CGI animated films. I don't like CGI anything. Like, practical effects is what I enjoy. So I enjoyed the fight sequence because it felt real and it felt like this is something you would really be watching. So I don't know. I'm not going to say I loved this movie. I'm not going to go to the bats for it. But I definitely think if you look at the two previous movies, and this is sort of a melding of those two, that Shyamalan really stuck with his point of view and his vision for this universe he's created. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. But I think it was exactly what he would have wanted, and I think he had what he wanted to say about the nature of comic book films and the comic book industry and filmmaking in general, and he put it into this movie. And whether you like it or hate it, you gotta kind of respect him for sticking to it. Also self-financed, so he's just gonna do what he's gonna do. So this is Glass. The last thing I want to say about it was I love Bruce Willis. Always will. It's always good to see him back on the screen. And I particularly love evil Samuel L. Jackson, and I wish he got to be evil in more movies. And also put him in purple because he looks so good in purple. He looked good. So that's what I have to say about this movie. I'm probably the wrong audience to hate it because I don't particularly care for CGI comic book movies. So it worked for me.